Hey guys, thanks for joining us for the September newsletter. We have a few hot topics for you this month, but before we start, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our email newsletter if you haven't already. All links are in the description below. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to call, email, or fill out the form below, and one of our CNS specialists will get back to you as soon as possible. Remember when cloud storage was getting popular? Nobody could quite grasp the concept of storing everything in the cloud. There was quite a bit of confusion. Where is the cloud? Who has all my stuff? How do I get it back? Is it just floating up in the air? It was a pretty funny time, and honestly, I'm sure there's still people confused about it. I mention this because I feel like the FMCSA's Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse poses a similar situation. Where is the house? What's the address? Who lives there? Do I mail my information to the house? Okay, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but there was definitely a lot of confusion when it was first announced. A lot of it revolved around its purpose, and many truckers were confusing the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse with a drug and alcohol consortium. I won't go into all that right now, but if you're still confused about the difference between those two, just check out the link above. With that said, the FMCSA has announced Phase 2 of the Clearinghouse, which I assume is only going to create more confusion, so try and follow me here. The Clearinghouse is just an online database for storing drug and alcohol violations of anyone holding a CDL. And as a CDL holder or carrier, you're required to register. The Clearinghouse helps to keep track of these violations and prevents drivers from hopping from one job to another if they fail the drug test. As part of Phase 1, when a driver had a violation, they were marked in the system as prohibited from driving a commercial motor vehicle. Phase 2 will go into effect on November 18, 2024, and it will take this one step further by preventing drivers from holding a CDL or a commercial learner's permit. Also, it will require state driver's licensing agencies to remove commercial driving privileges or downgrade the license until the return to duty process is complete. And some states have already made the change. Check with your local licensing agency to confirm, or you can call, email, or fill out the form below, and we can help you out. With over 160,000 drivers currently being marked as prohibited from driving a CMV, I am sure there are a lot of you wondering, how in the heck do I change it to not prohibited? Well, unfortunately, you have to complete the return to duty process. And what does that process look like? Well, it consists of 5 steps: finding a DOT substance abuse professional, completing an initial SAP evaluation, finishing your SAP recommended education or treatment program, completing a second SAP evaluation, and finally completing a return to duty observed drug test. After completing these steps, your clearinghouse status will be changed back to not prohibited, and your commercial driving privileges will be reinstated. If you have any questions about Phase 2, the return to duty process, or have trouble getting and keeping good drivers, feel free to call, email, or fill out the form below, and one of our DOT compliance specialists can help you out. You don't hear about workers striking quite as often anymore, but it's definitely still happening. In 2023, strike activity increased by 280%, which was most likely a result of inflation that stemmed from the pandemic reopening, among other things. Today, we are talking about the potential port strike of the International Longhornsmen's Association, which will go into effect on October 1st, 2024 at 13 major U.S. ports on the East and Gulf coasts. This has retailers and manufacturers very worried with the holidays coming up because these ports handle about 43% of all U.S. imports and billions of dollars worth of imported goods, from cars to electronics to food, clothing, and agricultural products. A strike could mean big problems and similar supply chain issues that we saw throughout the pandemic, so we already know that a strike would leak into and affect the trucking industry. The biggest issues are related to cargo delays and congestion because for truckers to do their job, they're relying on dock workers to do their jobs quickly and efficiently. When dock workers strike, the cargo stays at the port and creates huge delays in unloading ships, which prevents truckers from transporting the goods inland, which leads to longer wait times. If the strike continues, containers pile up at ports, creating bottlenecks, making it difficult for truckers to pick up and drop off shipments. The ripple effect of this strike could create a number of issues. From a supply chain perspective, A port strike could disrupt the flow and slow the production of goods. Many industries rely on just-in-time inventory, which means that goods are delivered as needed. Because of this, there would likely be less of a demand for truckers since companies would have to adjust schedules to accommodate the delayed shipments. In addition, companies could even turn to other modes of transportation like rail or air freight. Now, shipments could be rerouted to other ports, like on the West Coast for example, but even though this creates other opportunities for truckers, there will still be delays because of the longer distances. And longer distances of course means higher fuel costs and longer drive times for these truckers. Those that are unwilling to make the trip to the West Coast may find themselves waiting for the strike to end and still be losing money. And finally, the ripple effect of everything I just mentioned could end up leading to an increase in freight rates, and with truckers traveling longer distances, the additional fuel costs could end up being passed on to consumers. So hopefully none of this happens and everything is resolved before the strike on October 1st. But we wanted you to understand how everything works together and how easily one wrench can make the whole system crumble. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always call, email, or fill out the form below, and one of our transportation specialists will help you out. If traveling abroad, you probably already know about the standard travel vaccinations you'll need like typhoid, hepatitis A and B, yellow fever, and so many more. Of course, it depends on where you're traveling. Well, move over COVID. There's a new disease in town and it's starting to raise some concerns. It's called the Oropouche virus. If you're traveling to Brazil,
You're going to Brazil!
you need to be extra careful as most cases have been documented there. But since mosquitoes have started to spread the virus to other areas, Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, and Cuba have seen cases as well. The case count is at 8,000 so far this year in the Americas, with 20 cases being linked to U.S. travelers returning from Cuba, and for the first time, the Oropouche virus is being linked to human deaths. As of September 2024, there's a level 2 travel notice, and I hope it stays there. If we get to level 4, well, I don't have to tell you how much that's gonna suck. In most cases, the symptoms are fairly mild, but there's no vaccines or medicines right now, so you should travel with caution. The symptoms can include fever, headaches, muscle and joint pain, pain behind the eyes, nausea, man, I don't feel so good, and vomiting. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I'm sure I'm fine. It's probably just something I ate. Anyways, as you're traveling and 3 weeks after traveling, just take steps to prevent bug bites to avoid being infected and also spreading the virus. Just get you some good old-fashioned bug spray. And you may want to go with the bug spray that has the DEET on this one. If you have any questions about traveling and what types of vaccines you might need, feel free to call, email, or fill out the form below and we can help you out. Do you like to party? Well, so do we. Bet you didn't expect that from a bunch of insurance people. Everyone thinks we're boring just because, well, insurance. But deep down, there's a beast waiting to be unleashed.
Yay!
With that said, we aren't as crazy as our clients who manage fleets of party buses. And it's a good thing because we're busy getting them the right insurance coverage. Running a party bus company can be lucrative and exciting, but this kind of operation involves a lot of challenges and risks that require very specific insurance coverages. And that's where we come in. Because there's a lot of risk involved, insurance premiums can be high. I mean, typically, when a group orders a party bus, they have one thing in mind: partying. Partying usually means alcohol, alcohol usually means dancing, and who knows what else. Hey, I didn't see anything. If you have any questions at this point, just call, email, or fill out the form below, and we can help you out. If not, party on, party people. So, as I mentioned, operating party buses can be risky, and you really need to consider taking a proactive approach to your safety and risk management. Our partners over at CNS push our DOT compliance programs because those programs cover everything you need from a safety and compliance perspective. Their goal is to show underwriters that you are doing everything in your power to reduce your fleet's risk and making sure you don't end up with a terrible safety score. Without going into too much detail, some things that you can implement or get covered in one of these DOT programs to help reduce your insurance rates are things like driver training and certification, routine vehicle maintenance, company policies, and onboard safety equipment. Hey, I know your passengers may get a little crazy, but hey, they're still your customers, and you need to keep their safety at the top of your to-do list, regardless of what they're doing behind that curtain. Outside of training your drivers and safety equipment, the vehicles you purchase can also have a big impact. All we have to say is, choose your vehicles wisely. Newer is better. Newer just means that there are less things to potentially go wrong and a much smaller chance of your drivers being pulled over and getting DOT violations and fines. Newer also means more safety features. And what did we say earlier? Safety good, risky, bad. In addition to focusing on training, safety, and your vehicles, it won't hurt to use an experienced insurance broker who specializes in commercial vehicles, and lucky for you, that is exactly what our insurance specialists do. Our specialists will help you navigate the market, identify savings, negotiate better terms with insurers, and tailor the coverage to your exact needs. There's a whole list of coverages and specialized coverages you need, but a few to start thinking about are bodily injury, workers' comp, PIP, and the list goes on. If you have questions, feel free to give us a call, email us, or fill out the form below, and one of our insurance specialists will help you out. Well, that about covers it for this month. As always, please be sure to subscribe to our channel and our email newsletter. Links are below. And call, email, or fill out the form in the description if you have any questions. One of our CNS specialists will be contacting you as soon as they can.